I think if you, I think right now, Kanye's on a blink and you'll miss it Twitter spree.
Yeah.
I think by the time that we're done recording this, we will have missed at least a novel's worth of
Grammy urine.
Grammy. Yeah, I think he has like 20 of them. So
Yeah.
he probably pissed on that one and was like, just leave it in there.
It's fine.
We were gonna get rid of that toilet anyway.
Yeah. We never use it.
I will say this. Right now, his tweets right now are not as unhinged as people as his detractors want to make them out to be, right? They're at least he has a point, and I think we'll get into it.
Okay.
Let's crack these beers open.
Okay. Let's do that.
So you got tell us what we're drinking, Obe.
We got a Sideward Brewing special. It's the Sound Investment Triple India Pale Ale. As usual, these bad boys don't have cold read, so it makes my job easy.
There you go. Peep the headwear. Sideward. That was an accident. I was just wearing this hat today.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah. So, my name is Marco Dupa. That right there is Adam Obeses Rodriguez.
Go Knights.
And this is episode 280 of the One Beer In podcast.
Wow.
Let's crack these bitches open. Yeah.
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m. takes me to a place where I fit in.
So, yes, the One Baron podcast. The podcast where two brews crack open a brew and see where that one brew takes us. Happy to be here. This is another episode where we're finally back in the stew. And hopefully
for a long, long time.
Yeah. And we continue just improving on things. I don't know if you can tell. We got new equipment in the studio.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're gonna work on this blank space.
Yes, this won't be blank for very much longer.
Yeah.
So things are moving up.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So he's been. It's kind of hard to keep up with him at this point.
It's been a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, it's been. We're still waiting on that. By the way,
still working on that.
Well, it's nothing that we can do. We have to just wait. Well, I guess there's something that... Here's the thing. I like the program that we were using.
Yeah.
SoundPlant is a good program for a soundboard.
Okay.
Simple, easy. The UI was not that hard to figure out.
Right. It's just a digital soundboard, right?
Yeah, and it was perfect. You just mapped the keys to what you wanted. I pulled stuff from the internet and just...
Legally?
All of it was legal.
Of course.
Duh.
Yeah.
All of it was taken from royalty-free websites, right?
Yeah, and we recreated the ones that we couldn't find.
Exactly. So all of it legally.
Of course.
And then you just map it to the keys. Very easy. I like the program. The problem is some of these programs just didn't keep up with the OS update.
Right.
So... I mean, we just have to wait. Every time I go to the site, they're like, we're working on it.
Trust me.
It's like,
your $5 will get us there.
So, yeah, well, it's hard to keep up with everything that he's talking about. But some of the stuff is quietly really important.
Mm-hmm.
And don't let the Taylor Swift stands in his comment section.
Did you know that Taylor outsold him? Did you know that Taylor Swift made him famous?
Taylor Swift made him famous. I love that that's their line.
Video of K-pop stars.
His stands are Well, let me not say anything about stands.
No. We're steering clear from that shit, my friend.
Who knows? I'll go after the incels every day of the week. But the K-pop stands?
Not so much.
Respect.
Yeah.
Respect. So, yeah, I mean, in between, talking about trying to reconcile with Drake and Hit Boy and the interior design of his house and all the other weird shit that he's talking about. In between all of that,
betwixt, some would say,
he starts going off on this rant about his deal, his record deal, and how he's like, no music is gonna come out until I'm out of this deal. And then I don't know, something must have just snapped in him. And he was like, I'm letting it all out. Mm-hmm. So he just, I mean, what he revealed is unprecedented. And people don't understand. Like, we've gone on this show countless episodes, and we've talked about how we agree and disagree, and, my changing feelings on Kanye West, blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. None of that has changed.
Okay.
But what he's doing on Twitter right now cannot be understated. This is really important stuff.
Yeah. Like, it's subversive.
Yeah.
Everyone writes him off as being this loon because reasons. But him sharing his actual contracts, which I'm sure they're not happy about.
They cannot be happy about that.
And also talking about, like, behind the scenes dealings and really, I mean, kind of talking about some, like you said, really important things in the music industry and really entertainment industry, as far as owning your masters, not being part of this system that eats people up. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he even expressed talking about the impact on athletes and contracts and things like that too. So, it's stuff that people have talked about for a long time, but obviously it being Kanye, he's doing it in let's just call it unique way, and very loudly. So
yeah, there's never been an artist at his level who has talked about it in the kind of detail that he's talking about it right now.
Yeah,
they always usually keep it under wraps. They're always afraid of litigation for good reason,
right?
And I think he obviously doesn't seem to care about the consequences. I think that's actually the point, is, being a martyr for what may happen after this. Mm-hmm. See, the problem with Kanye West, amongst the many other things,
tell us the problem.
The main problem is that everything he does and says, you have to look past the veil of capitalism. Mm-hmm. There is always this thing where you're like, all right, what do you stand to gain from this? Because the past 5 years has been a carousel of controversial statement or action, album rollout,
of course,
clothing line rollout, and and then it just keeps rolling and rolling. So anytime he does stuff like this, you think, all right, well, what are you getting out of this? What's coming next?
It's even simpler than that. Even recently, I think it was earlier this week, or maybe the week before, he was talking about not being on any boards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like he's dressing this in the clothing of, well, this is about all black people. Mm-hmm. It's not just about me, it's about everyone. However, I am not on any of the boards that I'm a part of, right. The companies I'm a part of or that I have partnerships with. And so it's like, I saw a tweet that was like, it's so clear everything that Kanye stands for begins with the seed of self-serving.
Yeah.
It's just so apparent that pretty much every stance he's taken this, hard-nosed, very loud approach on, especially recently, has been all rooted in something that's serving his own best interests.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to make a judgment call one way or the other, but because it makes sense to do things that work for you and that benefit you, of course.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're saying that you're doing something for the people, but it's really about you, okay, then we may have to reevaluate, the ethical nature of what you're standing for.
Right. It's hard to get the message from him because the message is pure and what he's trying to get across is good. But to get the message from a guy like him at this stage in his career, it's like, it's hard. It's hard to listen to you. And that's why when he goes on these Twitter rants, every time it's split between people who are like, here we go again. His stans who are like, oh, everything you say is the greatest thing that's ever been said.
More nectar of the gods.
Please.
Tweet more.
Tweet more.
Tweet on my face.
Every tweet is the greatest tweet of all time.
Yeah.
So that's the problem you can't really have. And even this discussion that we're having right now, if somebody on that side of the argument picks up on this, they'll be like, oh, you're just a bunch of haters. You don't know anything, blah, blah, blah. But it's really just, you have to take these things with a grain of salt, man. You wouldn't listen to Jeff Bezos talk about financial struggles.
Right.
Right? And I'm not saying Kanye is on that level, but Kanye obviously would like to be on that level.
Well, unless it was a discussion that was relevant, like how he came from, kind of meager beginnings and became this billionaire.
Right.
If that's the discussion, if it's like, this is how I did it, try doing these things for yourself and see how they work out.
It would be more Jeff Bezos going, I mean, it just kind of sucks that I don't own Microsoft too, it just doesn't make any sense. I use a Microsoft computer. How come I don't own it?
If it's not that sort of helpful angle, it sounds more like, why are you complaining now?
Yeah, and it's like like him wanting to be on the boards of these companies that he collaborates with makes sense on one level, but because I am fully supportive and on board of any kind of black excellence and any kind of because these companies have been taking advantage of black folks since the beginning of time. They sell shoes and they make them for pennies on the dollar on the backs of colored folks in these I was gonna say studios in these big ass studios,
studio apartments in Brooklyn.
No, in these fucking factories.
Yeah.
They break the backs of colored folks, then they sell them to and by black people, and the people who make the most money are the white people who've never even worn those shoes.
Right.
It makes sense what he's saying. At the same time, why would you be on the board of Gap? Because you have one collaboration with them, they're going to put you on the board of the company?
Yeah. And that goes with him not being the person for this conversation, specifically in that scenario. It just seems like it's another one of those things that Kanye is overselling what his relationship is with these companies in order to make it seem like this injustice that he's not on the board.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he shouldn't be when there's this, deep partnership that is intrinsic to his brand, the Yeezy brand, if that's a thing that he's not being fairly given, power over and ownership over, then I'd get that. But it's like, it's, again, I don't want to make it a thing about just assuming because of the caricature that he has become. But it's hard to take him seriously in these scenarios because it's like, how much are you exaggerating right now?
Yeah.
Because that's what you're known for.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I agree with you though. I'm all about, if this, again, it's a conversation we've had time and time again. If this leads to more artists owning their music and getting more money out of their fandom, and not this money not all going to 5 billionaires who own the record companies, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Even if it comes from him, it's fine.
And it's already prompted a handful of artists to come out and say, you say what you want about Kanye, but he's not wrong about these deals.
Yeah.
I think the main thing that I wanted to talk about, though, and then we can get off of this, is the focus being on these evil companies that sign these young, easily manipulated artists who just want money to these shit deals, and now they owe 10 albums, and it's like you're gonna like Kanye's deal. I read part of the contract. Part of it is like, at no point will you retire. At no point during the duration of this contract will you even threaten to retire. At no point will you even take an extended break from making music. Like, he has to just constantly put stuff out. Yeah. And that could be part of the reason why some of his stuff has been subpar, why some of it is just like feels like the entire Yeezy Life of Pablo Ye Jesus is King, like that stretch of albums. Yeah. I feel like he just didn't take as much time as he usually does. And that could be part of it, was just like his contract is like, you need to keep shitting stuff out. Like the whole 7 songs thing that they did a couple years ago could have all just been, well, I need to churn shit out. To have
to meet the contractual obligation.
Yeah. So he is on Twitter talking about how shit his deal is, which again, that's a really powerful thing to see. What I would like to see as a young artist is, how do I not sign a deal like that? Because you can blame Def Jam or Columbia or Atlantic all you want, but those guys they're going for their best interests. To sit here and think, Bobby Whiteman at who's the head of these labels has your best interest at heart.
I'm sorry, it's Bobby Whitman.
I'm sorry, you're right. I'm sorry, I read that wrong.
Yeah.
It's Bobby Whitman.
Right.
To think that he has your best interest in mind is crazy, because it's not even a race thing. It's capitalism. Why would the guy at the top look down at the worker at the bottom and go, I need to have his best interest at heart?
That's the thing. It boils down to capitalism, which sucks because that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as a person living in that system, as we are in the US of A, you have to expect that.
Right.
Companies are out there to make money. We talked about this with the video game discussion time and time again. It doesn't matter how creative or how much fun the end product is. The companies that put the money up for the thing want the thing to sell.
Right.
That's all they care about.
Right.
They don't care about the artist. I mean, they care about the artist as long as the artist can make the thing.
Right.
That's what they care about. Now, I think there's a discussion to be had as far as like valuing that artist more on that side of the business deal, because without those artists, those companies are nothing.
Yeah.
Those companies, sure. Columbia couldn't make an album without the musicians.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those musicians couldn't feed their kids without Columbia.
Right. So
for a long time, it's been this dynamic where Columbia, I'm just using them as an example. I'm not saying that they're egregious in particular.
But I think they are.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. It's been for so long that the ball's been in the court of the person who's putting up the money. And it makes sense because money's power, right? So maybe there can be a conversation to be had as far as equaling that scale a little bit.
Yeah.
In order to make it more of a partnership with these artists, where sure, the company is fronting the money for the artists to do their thing, but it's more of this organic, like, we're here to support you because us supporting you leads to better art and giving you the time that you need and whatever you need within reason, as far as time and you need to go to Thailand for a month, go ahead.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to get the end product to be as good as it possibly can. And mind you, good in their scale is selling. It's not necessarily,
So you need to hold up your side of the bargain. It needs
correct.
To
it needs to sell. If it doesn't sell, then we have to drop you or not support you as much.
Yeah.
But as long as it's a productive relationship, then we're okay.
I agree with you But I think that is something that the way that I see that these record labels work is just, I just don't think that's ever going to happen. Even with this, even if there's some kind of revolution when it comes to how these artists approach these deals, you're still going to get, I mean, there are so many rappers and singers and just musicians, period, who you wouldn't believe if you started looking at, because you can find some of their deals online. And I've looked at some of these contracts because, like, I'm not trying to fall into that trap. If I ever am lucky enough to get into a situation where a label wants me to sign a contract, I am at least halfway prepared to go, all right, I need to sit down and actually read this contract before and it's because of artists like Kanye who go out there and are very public about their failings. Yeah. And again, I give him credit for that. But I think that the focus right now, because of how long this has been a problem, I think that fixing that side of it is the long fight. Yeah. I think that educating younger artists is the better short-term focus because that is something that you could do immediately. Right. A young artist who is blowing up and is on blogs and shit and you're hearing a lot about, you could go to that guy and be like, hey, man, make sure that you read that contract. Make sure you don't sign a 10-album deal at 18.
Hire a lawyer.
Hire a lawyer. And don't hire the lawyer that the label that wants to sign you wants you to hire.
Even if you need to take out a loan, hire a lawyer who knows what they're talking about.
Because if you're valued at what these labels think you're valued at, then get a good lawyer. Yeah. Because you're going to get that money back because you obviously bring that value to the table. Yeah. So you owe it to yourself to not be taken advantage of. Yeah. I was reading about because Kanye is funny. Kanye posted a screenshot of a post from Hit Boy, who, if you don't know, Hit Boy is a producer who produced half of Big Sean's new album. He produced all of Nas's new album. Right. I think he has an album with Benny the Butcher coming. So he's like the hit guy. He's in demand right now.
He's the
Hit Boy. So he posted about his contract. It's funny though because he starts the post off and he's like, I haven't really liked Kanye on a personal level for a long time. Ever since he told me to my face that he doesn't pick my beats anymore because I worked with Beyonce. Which is such a weird, dude. I can't even get into the hierarchy of the issues that.
Well, and then on top of that, one of the recent tweets by Kanye was him tweeting Destiny's Child song. Yeah. Saying, "Oh, let's do a Destiny's Child gospel album." Yeah. What?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's all the batshit in between all of this important stuff we're talking about. All the meat.
Yeah.
All the fat is
around there. Yeah, we got to carve.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And there was a part where he was like, I want to reconcile with Hit Boy. And Hit Boy's like, fuck you. You don't just get to go on Twitter and be like, let's squash it. After you said some really fucked up shit to me, to my face. Like, I don't want to. But
it's all love.
In the post, he's like, I signed some crazy publishing deal at 18, 19 years old, where he said he had 3 different lawyers look at it, and they said, this is one of the worst publishing deals we've ever seen. And it's young artists, they get the googly eyes, and they see the dollar amount, and they just don't look at anything else.
But it makes perfect sense. You're 18, 19. We talked about this with that couple of podcasters, the chicks.
Oh, yeah, the Call Her Daddy. Call Her Daddy.
Yeah, Call Her Daddy.
Yeah. The fucking deal that they signed.
Right, exactly.
Insane.
With something like that, you're in your teens to early 20s, you get offered more money than you've ever seen in your life. Yeah. Imagine how hard it is to turn that down. Especially, let's say you're a rapper who's living in public housing and you get an offer for, $100,000. Yeah. How are you going to turn that down when you know that can, get you out of whatever situation you're in right now?
Yeah.
And to do the thing that you want to do anyway.
And exactly. That's the other thing. It's like if a guy in a suit came to my house when I was 18 and was like, "This is a 7-album deal for a couple $100,000," dude, I would have signed that immediately. Yeah. Because in my head, I'm like, 7 albums is easy money. You know how easily, I still feel that confident. You know how easily I could knock out 7 albums. That shit that's nothing. Mm-hmm. But what you don't realize and what you don't have the wherewithal or the foresight to think about is what happens if you have some smash hit on your first or second album. Now you're worth millions, not a couple 100,000.
You're not worth millions to you, though. You're worth millions to them.
Right.
So therefore, all of that profit goes to them,
right to them,
and you're stuck with whatever you signed.
Exactly. But that takes foresight that kids just don't have. Yeah. You're 18 and you think you're talented and you think people give a shit about you. You have no foresight into what could happen later. Yeah. It's all about what's happening now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like even George Lucas, you know his story. Mm-hmm. He was trying to make a deal, and they wanted to offer him more on top, right? Just immediately. Here's some extra money for you. We believe in your project, George. And he said, "No, I'll take less, but I want to own all the products that I can possibly make out of Star Wars.
Yeah.
The toys, the lunch boxes, the backpacks, everything." And before that time, that wasn't really a thing with like a movie franchise. You know, you had lunch boxes and stuff of like, I don't know, like sci-fi TV shows and westerns and stuff like that. But there wasn't like that big property.
Right. There wasn't like a merchandise deal.
Right. So action figures and stuff like that. He had the foresight to demand that, and they were like, "Sure, take the lunch boxes. What do we care?" And that alone funded him for the rest of his life.
Right. $6 billion later. Who cares?
Right. And it was, mind you, it was a huge bet because there a lot of people looking at Star Wars face value, the original cut, and all that. Like, you could go, this could be absolute garbage.
Yeah.
This could fall on its face. But the belief in what it could be and the potential, betting on yourself.
You have to bet on yourself.
It can really pay in dividends.
That's the lesson, kids. Bet on yourself. I mean, even closer to home with this hip hop conversation. I mean, Chamillionaire, he had the same kind of story where, when he signed his deal, this was right before ringtones were about to blow up.
Yep.
And he signs this deal where he's like, "Look, man, you take that. I want to take the profits off of this, and this, and I want every dime that I can get out of the ringtones."
I think we may have talked about that.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
So, Riding Dirty blows up, biggest song of his career, and it's a smash with ringtones. It's one of like the most popular ringtones. And guess what? He pocketed, I think, like 90% of the profits from the ring because the label was like, okay,
$1 a pop, sure,
fine,
take them.
And that's the kind of belief
you and
that
Crazy
you have to have
Frog
in yourself. And people talk about this all the time, and sometimes like on Twitter and stuff, and people laugh them out off the internet, but it's true. Soulja Boy is another one who was smart enough to go, I want the money from the ringtones. I want the money from this, that, and the other thing. He signed what some people say a really good deal for his age and for what he was able to accomplish with it. Like, I don't know the ins and outs. I mean, he could have been on the hook for like 8 albums. I don't know. But as far as like the merchandise deal and the extracurricular money that he was making off of his singles, he signed a good deal. And it's like, it's not impossible. That's the thing. People will tell you like, well, I mean, what are you gonna tell a Lil Yachty who's living in squalor, who is trying to get their mother out, blah 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 blah. And it's like, you make a good point, but you have to believe that if a label is gonna offer you $100,000, the next label is gonna give you $200,000.
Yeah.
You could get on your own $300,000. Like, you have to believe that there is more out there for you. If that one, there's no way that there's just the one guy who's like, I'm going to take my chances. Fuck that. They're just trying to be the first one because they see the value, and you have to see it in yourself.
You get you cheap and first.
Right. Exactly. So, more power to you, Kanye, if all of this comes to fruition and something really positive comes from it. I tweeted that, like, I'm not going to comment on any of his business deals until I see the prices of his Gap collaboration.
Right.
Because that's really going to be indicative of, like, how much of this is just talk and how much of this is real. Because he always talks about, you know, I'm trying to do this for the black community, and I'm trying to, like, only a couple years ago he was saying that, like, the Yeezys are going to be cheaper and we're going to make them here in America, and we're going to make a bunch so that, you know, this whole sneakerhead culture thing doesn't take over and blah, blah, blah. And he has yet to do that. They still covet his shoes. The resale value on his Yeezys is through the roof. Like, he's done nothing to change that. So this Gap collaboration is supposed to be the first step in affordable yet chic streetwear.
Right.
So if that's the case, if you can just go to the mall and get some Yeezys, I'll be like, I will commend him for that, because that's what he keeps saying he wants to do.
That's the vision.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. But anyway, that's enough.
Well, that's been the One Beer and Podcast.
Yeah, he's already got enough. We already give him so much energy that I don't know if he deserves or not. But
that's what he wants, though.
Yeah, and we gave it to him. So on a more positive note, still a capitalistic note, but more positive.
Bye.
We finally have the information that we've been begging for.
Yeah.
Actually, it was last week that we were like, hopefully we'll know.
We need something.
And now we know. We have the specs, we have the release date, and we have the price for the PlayStation 5. Ladies and gentlemen, Sony had their PlayStation event where they not only announced the specs, the prices, yada, 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 but some things that we can look forward to in the coming console generation.
Most of them actually coming out next year, 2021. A lot of the announcements.
Yeah. I was surprised at how many things were like coming really soon.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
Yep.
So let's kind of run down what we got.
All right. Just to give them a little bit of swag here. I'm looking at the article on TheVerge.com. So the big announcement was that the PlayStation 5 is coming out with the disc drive for $499.99. And then there's a digital version that's coming out for $300.99. Sorry, I got stuck. $400 for the digital version.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people were surprised by, because Xbox Series S was announced recently for $300, but it's a much lower tier of tech in that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people coming out of this announcement have been really hot on that announcement, that for only $100 more, you get the same tech in the system. You just don't get a disc drive, which a lot of people are okay with nowadays.
$100 less.
$100 less.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, no, $100 more compared to the Xbox.
Got you.
Right.
Understood.
So a lot of people are comparing those two and being like, well, the better deal is really to go with the PlayStation, because you get the PlayStation 5 like all frills, but you just the only thing that you don't get is the disc drive, which a lot of people download their games digitally anyway.
I have, at this point, dude, with the past like couple of games that I've been playing, and the issues that I've been having with my PlayStation now. I mean, it is on its last leg. I understand it's old as fuck.
It's like a debut version, right?
No, yeah, it's a day one PlayStation. So I understand that I'm actually lucky that it still works. I get that.
Mine too. Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't really work as well as you would hope.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like, dog, if I can never buy another disc again, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So that was the big announcement, probably the biggest. And also it's going to launch November 12th in the US, Japan, and a bunch of other territories.
Yeah.
One more thing announcement at the very end of the the entire conference was that God of War Ragnarok is going to be coming.
Oh yeah.
There wasn't much other than a voiceover. Boy. But still exciting. It's supposed to be coming out next year. Which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, right?
That seems really soon.
It seems like, how were they able to be working on this game? Like, how much information did they have? How? Because God of War came out in 2018.
Right.
This new system's going to come out in 2020, late 2020.
Yeah.
And they've already got the game ready 2021.
Yeah, and that's 3 years.
Yeah, that's how? How were they able to do that?
There have been some people guessing that it's more of like a Spider-Man Miles Morales, where it's like a side story. You get Ragnarok, and then you get the actual God of War 2.
Okay.
With maybe like a different, pantheon of gods.
Yeah.
So that's been a theory tossed around, which may make sense.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Either way, I'm fine, because if it's just more of throwing that axe and catching it, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation Plus is getting an extra bonus for PS5 called the PlayStation Plus Collection, which gives you a full collection of a lot of technically current gen right now, but last gen classics like Uncharted 4, Bloodborne, Batman Arkham City, and on and on and on and on. You can look up the entire list. I think there's about 10 in that list, maybe a little bit more.
I think anybody who, I've been spending a lot of time playing like multiplayer games for the past like 2 or 3 years, but we grew up playing narrative-driven single-player games, right? And I just think, because I talked to Salfie and Eddie and stuff, and they're who I play most of these multiplayer games with.
Yeah,
and they just. I understand why it's never been really their bag to do shit like that. I get it, but
to play like single player narrative driven games.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that this message goes out to you guys and people like you who all they do is every year they just buy Madden and then that's it. Like because what I've seen is the same people who do stuff like that are the same people who want to tell you about the coolest fucking show on Netflix or shit. Like the people who sit down and only play NBA 2K and Madden also really fuck with The Witcher and shows like that. I've noticed there's this Venn diagram and they're in the middle of it where it's like, dude, don't you understand that like that media,
you can experience that.
You can.
Yeah.
It's right
you
there.
You can make the choices.
So, just the people who think like, nah, I don't really want to waste my time playing Uncharted. Dude, if you enjoy Indiana Jones or any kind of adventure movies, action adventure movies, like
give it a shot.
You would just, I think a lot of people don't understand like how much fun Last of Us. Everybody's obsessed with The Walking Dead. We talked about that last week. Everybody's obsessed with the goddamn Walking Dead, and not only that, but if you're a fan of any of the AMC classic shows, it has the same feel to it. Mm-hmm. Like
it takes it as seriously as those shows do.
Yeah, people don't understand the artwork. Or the art period and the experience that they're missing out on by being stuck in this. I only play X game. And it's like, dude, there's a world out there, buddy. It's just
yeah. Now I think some of it is that some people don't get the same thrill out of not playing against somebody. It's like a competitive thing.
Yeah,
that's all they look for in games. So I get that aspect of it.
I get that.
Because that's why I'm pretty much just an avid single player narrative driven game guy. I don't have that competitive spirit as much.
Yeah.
I do like my odd, war zones and stuff like that, but for the most part, I'm not driven by that sort of like
competitive spirit.
Yeah, like I'm going to go on and play 2K with people online.
Dominate.
Right, I don't care about that. So, and it's not because I suck. It's because I suck. But, yeah, I'd say at least give it a shot. This gives people a huge opportunity to at least try these things out for free.
Yeah.
Oh, not for free. You're paying for the subscription, but you're probably paying for the subscription anyway.
Right.
So it's an added bonus.
Most people are paying for that subscription.
Exactly. Anyway. If you're playing online anyway, you're paying for that subscription. Give those single player games a chance.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah. No reason not to. And you're bored and you're waiting for that next iteration of your sports game. Just play Arkham Knight, man. It's just so much fun.
Yeah. You may surprise yourself.
Yeah.
Find something fun in there. Yeah. The real competition is within. That's all I'm saying.
That's nice.
Then we have Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, that was officially announced?
Officially announced.
I missed that.
Big ass trailer. We'll watch it after this show.
All right.
But it looks very dark. It looks almost Witcher-like. But a lot of the same trappings of a lot of the Final Fantasy series. There's chocobos, there's magic, crystals, all that fun stuff.
Action RPG still?
From the looks of it. But it looks like there's more like... It's hard to say without seeing the actual hub, or HUD, I should say, to show like what the controls look like. But the action looks really like frenetic and fast. It almost looked like a Devil May Cry to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, these games would. I don't know why they're not taking more, taking more stuff from Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 3, like the combat system is awesome.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Well, I think that's what like 7 Remake took a lot from.
I mean, it looks like
you hit the button to hit stuff, but then you also have a menu to throw out spells.
It looks Final Fantasy 7 Remake. It looks like it took inspiration, but it didn't go far enough. There's a lot of things that I think that they could have done better. That Kingdom Hearts 3 the combat system, I think Kingdom Hearts 3 the combat system is better. I think it's better.
You're wrong, it's fine. But
have you even played Kingdom Hearts 3?
I've seen enough.
I'm telling you, man.
I've seen enough to know.
It's better.
I'll give it a shot. I'll try it out.
It's better.
Yeah, but I still love 7 Remake.
How far are you? Did you beat it yet?
Not yet. I'm almost 30 hours in. Yeah.
I picked it back up for like 20 minutes and I was like, I can't do this.
Why?
Because
stop being dumb.
I was just so
be smart.
I need to take a little bit more time away from it.
Okay.
Because I just finished God of War.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I just put it back in and I'm like, it's not as good. It just doesn't feel the same. It's not as good. It's just not as good.
Yeah.
I'll come back in.
Yes, please do. Good game. Very good game. Then we have the new trailer for Spider-Man Miles Morales, which looks pretty cool. Looks very similar to the the last Spider-Man game.
Old.
Control-wise.
Oh, boy. So old.
Yeah. Control-wise and like... it looks like the combat's very similar, and which is a great thing because that game handles like a charm.
Now that's a game we can agree on. That's
just
man.
Great.
So good.
Yep.
That's another game that is like I played late in its life cycle, and I'm so glad that I didn't pass up on it completely. That I went back in because it's just so good.
It's fantastic. Did you ever get into the like DLC?
I haven't done the DLCs yet. I'm gonna go back in.
That stuff is really good too.
Yeah,
it's one of the better DLCs that I've ever played.
I've read that they take a lot of time.
There's more story content and like it's actually really good, really worth playing through. It adds to the storyline.
Spider-Man was one of the first games that I was like, I really wanted. Platinum it.
Yeah.
Like you know me, I don't give a shit about. Right. I just don't care about platinuming games. But that one I was like, I can and I will.
Yeah.
Like I know that I can.
Yeah.
And I want to.
It's a fun challenge to do that in that game.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Spider-Man Miles Morales looks like they add stuff to that already good system, which I mean to me is exactly what they should do.
Yeah.
At this point. It looks like Miles has more of those like electrical abilities.
Yeah.
Which adds a new element to the combat. Very cinematic. Running on PS5, it looks like there's way less lag as far as like transitioning from cinematics to action, which looks awesome. They also announced something pretty interesting, which is if you buy the premium edition of the game, it costs $70, but it comes with the original Spider-Man in it too. You can buy just Miles Morales, just that game for $40.
Okay.
Or you can upgrade to the deluxe edition, which comes with the original game too.
So, I mean, that pretty much tells you that it's not a full game by itself.
Right.
I mean, if there was anybody who was still wondering, like, is it or is it not?
Yeah.
Because they've been kind of weird about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've been obviously trying to sell it as its own game. Like, it's its own thing. We're not selling it as DLC. It's its own standalone, big thing by itself.
But now
that's in their own best interest, though, because they want to put it up on a pedestal to say this is its own game. It's
robust DLC.
Exactly. It's not Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
If that's the answer you're looking for. It's not Spider-Man 2.
I mean, it's the equivalent of, when say Destiny comes out with these story-driven DLCs.
Yeah, or
they're big expansions to the game. They're huge, like they're $40 expansions to the game that if you just had that would be enough, but it's not it's not a full revamp of the game.
The most equal analogy is Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's its own game built upon what was already there.
Yeah.
Which is fine, especially for Spider-Man because that's such a good game already. I'm in. I tweeted about the Puerto Rican flag being in it so much.
I saw that and
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that did my heart some good.
It's nice.
I
it's
like
nice.
That.
So yeah, I'm excited about that one. There was also a new Harry Potter game revealed at potentially the worst time for a Harry Potter game to be revealed.
Oh, bro. What is JK Rowling doing? What's going on?
She's going like this. Look, your memories. Crunch. She can't help herself.
Bro.
She can't help herself.
Bro, what is happening?
Someone said on Twitter, she literally could have just kept her mouth shut, believed whatever she wanted to, kept her mouth shut, and just said stuff like, oh, I'm really happy about my cucumber sandwich today, and like live the rest of her life being this treasured icon of our generation. But instead, she had to become this epitome of speaking out of turn on things you don't understand.
Yeah.
And being this hateful, like amalgamation of trash. This trash human.
It's trash.
She's trash.
Dude, she doubled, then tripled, then quadrupled down.
And then wrote a book about it. You heard what her next book's about, right?
Oh yeah. Dude, and I think that now that we know what her next book is about, this whole thing has been theater for her.
Yeah.
To be on Twitter talking all this shit to rustle the jimmies of anybody who would listen.
She's pulling a Kanye West.
Yeah. Now she's coming out with, oh, man.
It all makes sense.
Oh, man. I've never seen anybody, and people were talking about this on Twitter. It was this long thread of, like, have you ever known anyone in the history of pop culture to have cultivated so much goodwill and to have just flushed it down the toilet as epically as she has?
She lit it on fire.
There's no one in the history. I mean, when you think about positive role models that we have.
Anyone who was not this generation, anyone who was a fan of Hitler's art, probably the same scenario.
Wait, what?
If you were a big fan of Hitler's art before he became this dictator, if you were just like, this guy, Adolf, he's really good. And then suddenly, 10 years later, you're like, oh, he's killing a lot of Jews. That may be above JK Rowling.
Yeah, a little bit.
But
A little bit.
at the same time, she has destroyed everything she's built.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Did you know that over 2/3 of kids don't know
Yes.
about the Holocaust?
And that may be why that came to mind. Unfortunately. What's happening? Why?
Dude.
What's happening?
I can't even I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. I just don't know what's going on anymore.
We were supposed to be getting smarter.
Yeah.
What happened?
This is the kind of shit. I was watching I think it was Leon Lush, another YouTube commentator. Really funny guy. And he had his whole episode dedicated to these TikTokers who are going on there and they're making these horrible TikToks of these POVs of being like Holocaust victims.
Yep.
And his whole video is like, holy shit, how dumb can you be to make a video like this? It's so haphazard and tasteless and just, Jesus Christ, why would you do something like this? And now, knowing that audience may actually look at that video and go, I never knew that happened, and have to Google it. Like it puts a whole new spin on the whole thing. Like those kids, because his whole point was most of them are just clout chasers. They're jumping on this social media activism thing that like a lot of influencers just do it.
It's like a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And not to say that he's wrong, but there may be a level to it that he is wrong about. These kids do need to be educated on stuff like that. Now, obviously, not that way,
right? Well,
but
one of the Holocaust museums, I think it may have been Auschwitz. I'm not sure. One of the Holocaust museums responded to those videos on, I think, Facebook or something, and they were like, "Look, we don't condone people like bullying these kids for doing what they're doing."
Yeah.
Most of them that we've seen have been coming from a good place, from what we can tell.
Yeah.
It seems like they're trying to educate people. They're trying to tell a story, but not really having the knowledge or like faculties or like the ability to do that in the right way.
Yeah.
So instead of that, we'd rather them research and figure out really what happened during the Holocaust.
Yeah.
For real. So, don't try to like cancel these kids. Instead, we'd prefer you link them to like these actual stories of the Holocaust.
I think though, as awful as this sounds, I think that you're going to be able to educate but kids that age. You're going to be able to hook them better with these shitty TikToks than you are with linking them to some long diatribe about what happened.
Well, no, it's not even about educating the larger masses. It's about educating the kids who did those TikToks to know better than to do that.
Well, I wonder.
So they can spread the message more accurately than like, look at me in my dark makeup. Like I'm starving to death.
Yeah, it's not good. But
no.
But I wonder about those kids. I wonder if... I truly wonder, like, they seem to know enough. It doesn't seem like it's a lack of knowledge about what happened so much as it is a lack of...
like, tact.
Right. Like, and I think that's something that goes along with teaching them how to just interact with the world. I
feel like that's just a natural, like, thing you learn as you get older.
Exactly.
Which is why it's smart for you not to be TikToking when you're 12.
Yeah.
I
think that's the lesson.
You need a little bit, especially if you're going to be talking about something as serious as the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Like, do your dance. Do your dance. But if you're going to be talking about something of, real heavy subject matter, wait.
Yeah.
Give it a sec.
Yeah.
Maybe talk to your parents about it.
Yeah.
Maybe they have some perspective and they can go, you probably shouldn't do this video on this. Instead, maybe tell them, link them to these things, and say, hey, I found out this really sad story. Here's some historical information for you.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, that was like having to read Anne Frank, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read Anne Frank. We went to some museum. Where the fuck were we? Somewhere in St. Augustine, I think. Somewhere here there is a museum that's dedicated to the Holocaust.
Interesting. I've never knew that.
Yeah, we went somewhere, dude. I won't tell this story.
Okay.
Not on the podcast. I'll tell it to you later. It's kind of fucked up. But it has to do with the atrocities. Basically, I learned some of the atrocities, and then my young brain was like, Mom, you won't guess the kind of shit that I heard. And I told her some of the stuff that we learned, and it's really, 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 really fucked up. But my young brain didn't...
From the Nazis? You don't say.
Yeah,
really?
Can you believe it?
Wow.
Can you believe it?
Wow.
And
those guys?
In my head...
Led by the painter?
the way that led by the artist formerly known as...
Man, it's really disappointing.
in my young brain, it was fucked up. But I this is how I've always been. And even things that are really, truly, truly fucked up, there's a part of my brain that is fascinated by the level that human beings can get to.
That's humanity. That's
right.
Why true crime's so big. It's like people are absolutely fascinated by serial killers, people who commit war atrocities and all these things, these historical, every dad's obsessed with World War II.
Yeah.
And it's like it's because we just as a species, I feel, have this attraction to learning the depths of humanity.
Yeah.
Understanding it, because it's scary, because it makes you realize that most people are kind of capable of anything.
Jesus, sorry.
Given the circumstances, you know? And understanding the depths of humanity kind of lets you open up to the possibility of there being the exception to that, Well,
not according to my mom, who did not take lightly to hearing these stories.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it upset her in a way that I was like, I didn't know that I could say words that would
hurt you.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I won't describe it because it's really messed up.
Yeah.
I don't even really like talking about it that much. But anyway, how do we, because
JK Rowling.
Yes, JK Rowling. Dude, somebody in her corner needs to be like, do you mind? Just actually, you know what? She probably
power of eternity of attorney, please.
Power of attorney. I think that she's such a self-sustained entity that there's probably no one there to.
No,
she probably didn't have any handlers.
No, she's just surrounded by yes men, and
yeah,
that's all that she has to answer to.
I predict that this book is going to backfire. Like massively,
but I think
unless there's like some kind of underlying thing that she's like planning a long con.
That's not going to happen. I think what's going to happen is people will buy it out of curiosity.
I can see that.
Not enough to make it like a bestseller, but still enough from like the conservative sides.
Yeah, there's enough people on her Twitter who are like, she's just giving her opinion, man.
She's speaking up for the actual women.
Yeah, there's a lot. I see a lot of that.
We haven't actually explained what she's done, but she's apparently just been a huge transphobe.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's more dangerous than just being somebody who's like, I hate trans people. They're gross. They're weird. It's on a level of
lawmaking and like.
No, not that. On the level of being a person who claims to understand their struggle, but doesn't want the struggle of real women to be forgotten in this discussion that we're having about trans people.
Right.
So you mask it in this, I care about women, all women, trans women, real women, and then most people will go, well, what do you mean by real women?
Yeah.
And then that's where the discussion curtails into, well, I mean,
you know
what I'm talking
You know.
You know what I'm saying. And then that's where most people are like, no. Go ahead and explain
Please
it
explain.
to us.
And
JK.
oh, she did.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's the thing that's what's more dangerous about these people who pretend to be on your side, pretend to be allies.
Yeah.
These people who are, they're all about gay rights until it's, the person who's like, hey, man, I got nothing against gay people. And then it's like, well, what if your daughter was gay? Fuck that. Not my daughter.
I would simply disown her.
It's like, it's that same crowd that's like pretends to be on your side until it hits closer to home.
I don't mind gay people. They're just going to hell.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly. So, so she's been very vocal about those views.
Yeah.
So much so that she's written a book about it.
Yeah. So the book is apparently about a cis male who dresses up as a woman and attacks women.
Yeah.
Which is apparently the fear of a lot of people who are transphobic about just, all these stories of guys, straight men who decide to dress up in women's clothing just to try to attack women in bathrooms.
Yeah, you know how often a guy that looks like us puts a dress on, goes into a bathroom and says, I identify as a lady.
I'm trans. Let me make out with you.
Yeah, you know how that
happens
old bag,
all the time.
You know how that,
it happens all the time.
Happens, yeah.
You know what? And I won't stand for it. Not with my daughter in that bathroom. God damn it.
Not with my daughter.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we can.
The game looks cool.
Yeah,
it's unfortunately in this current timeline in which JK Rowling is, this figurehead for hate of an entire group.
You have to think anybody who's attached to the project or anybody who's attached to what she created has to be going, I mean, why are you doing this? Why are you fucking
Please
this up
stop.
for the rest of us?
Yeah.
From a selfish standpoint, you have to be like, why are you fucking our money up, bro? Like, what are you doing?
Of course.
I mean,
I'm sure WB feels that way.
Oh, yeah, big time. They're like, we're trying to sell a video game, idiot. What are you doing? And then I know that, they have the Fantastic Beasts movies. I don't know if they're doing a third one.
They were supposed to, but I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah.
Since the second one kind of bombed.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, so moving back to PlayStation talk.
Right.
After we went on an entire... I don't even know.
Yeah.
This game's called Hogwarts Legacy. So it kind of distances itself from Harry Potter in a way. It's set in the 1800s, late 1800s, in Hogwarts. You create your own wizard. And it seems like it's kind of an action RPG. So...
I'm not that big of,
I know, but it looks cool. And then not only do you have Hogwarts to kind of like explore and do stuff in, but apparently you can explore the world around Hogwarts and go on your own adventures after you get out of school and stuff.
Well, the reason I bring up the fact that I'm not that big a fan, other than just selfishly want to bring it back to me, is also just the fact that like this is this is one of those things that's like very you just have to be within. I think that you have to really, this is a niche thing is what I guess I'm trying to say.
Harry Potter?
I'm not saying Harry Potter is a niche thing. Okay. I'm saying a video game about Harry Potter is not something for casual PlayStation players. I think there's a huge market.
Yeah. Our entire generation.
All of them will play it. But what I'm saying is a person who's not that big a fan is not going to be like, I wonder what this wizard
I
game
need to
is
get
about.
the Harry Potter
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But, that being said, I wasn't anticipating a Harry Potter game, but seeing the video of it kind of interested me. It looks pretty good, but we'll see. So, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil 8 Village. There's another trailer of that. It looks really good.
I don't know why, but I've just been watching Resident Evil walkthroughs. I talked about it last week, and so yeah, I'm just all
now,
all in on.
Mind you, you've been watching the walkthroughs of what, 2 and 3?
Yeah, not 7. Yeah,
okay.
But I am going to, once I'm done with 2, I'm gonna go watch 7.
Okay.
Because I know it's different.
Well, if you want, I plan on not replaying. I plan on beating 7 for the spooky season.
Okay.
Finally.
Okay.
Because it takes me a long time to beat horror games.
I don't know if I can be in the same room watching you play. I mean, I want to. That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
And I'll do it.
Okay.
But oh man, it sounds stressful.
Well, look, worst case scenario is what I'm saying. I can beat it eventually.
Yeah.
And let you have it.
Nope.
So you can play it.
Absolutely not. I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
I won't. I'll play like I won't. I'll never beat it. I'll never beat it. Dude. Oh shit. I'm such a pussy. I think I only beat Resident Evil 1 on the PlayStation.
Okay.
And
Dead Space?
Oh yeah, I definitely beat Dead Space. That was a struggle.
Yeah. That was a tough
one. Dead Space, I definitely beat Dead Space.
I don't think I ever beat Dead Space 2 because of that reason.
It's just too. It's just. Going in the wrong direction. Bless you. Jesus.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I can try, but I just don't see it happening.
Okay. Anyway, so all you need to know is 7 or 8 looks like a continuation of 7, but more in like a Resident Evil 4 sort of setting.
Yeah.
Where it's like an entire village of people.
How
coming at you.
Where do you fall on the first person versus third person debate?
I think first person is intrinsically scarier, but I prefer third, and it's because I'm a chicken. But also I just like the combat better of a third person game where you can see all around you and like, you know.
Okay, so yeah, follow-up question. Mm-hmm. Do you prefer first person or third person period game wise?
Probably third. I just think I like third person because that's what we really grew up playing for the most part. You know, I played Doom back in the day and stuff like that, but it wasn't as pervasive as third person games, period. I mean, like even like a 2D games, you know, you see the character there.
Yeah.
That's what I was used to for a long time from like Mario 64. You're playing as that guy there. So
I'll never understand any video game that has cosmetics in it that you don't get to see. It's just wild to me. I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah. Like Overwatch is the biggest offender of that. Like they have these super cool cosmetics that only your enemy gets to see. I just never be able to wrap my head around.
Are you in the menu?
Yeah, and you just get to like, I know that's what I look like, but I just have to imagine it.
Yeah.
I don't know. And when I learned that Cyberpunk was going to be first person, I don't think I talked about it on the show, but I was like super disappointed, man.
Oh, you've cried about it a lot.
Yeah, I know I've cried. Yeah. But I mean, it's being made by the same company that made The Witcher, and they made a masterpiece third-person game. Why would you go first person?
Yeah, it's a good question.
And why in a game where you know, who you are is important.
Yeah. What
you look like, how you present yourself to the world in this game seems to be a big part of the game itself.
Yeah. It doesn't make much sense to me. The only thing I can think of is like they really want you immersed in the world, but you can still get that immersion in a third-person game.
Every game should be like Battlefront, where you just get to choose. You just get to decide if you want first person. Or GTA is another one.
Yeah.
GTA does it, I won't say perfectly, because once you go first person, it's not as good as going third person.
No, it's definitely added on after the fact.
But I think if a game as big and detailed as GTA can sort of pull it off,
give you the option. Yeah.
I think there's no reason why these other games shouldn't be able to give you the option.
Even if it's a lesser option, just it being there, just so you can pop out and see what you look like for a little bit.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Anyway, the other big announcement was Demon Souls remaster.
Ooh,
it looks
exciting.
Really nice. It's still a game I probably wouldn't play because it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so precise.
We're such pussies, man.
I know. It's fine. I like the easy route. But
I want it to be fun, but not too hard.
I need it to be
scary,
accessible.
but not too scary.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks incredible. It has me interested because, like, I really like Bloodborne. I didn't get very far in it, but I enjoy that sort of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's like a kiddie version of it, but I really like the Jedi Fallen Order too.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been kind of getting myself warmed up to this style of game.
Yeah.
So it looking this good may get me to cross the threshold into, instead of just enjoying movies and TV shows that hurt me, finally going into video games that really, really, hit me hard.
You need to see a therapist.
And make me hurt just to feel,
you need to talk to somebody, a professional.
Yeah. So anyway, the graphics look great.
Yeah.
They look incredible, and they show it's basically just a gameplay trailer. So the character's walking around, block, hit, dodge, hit, and like one hit kills and like all this cool stuff, and then it shows like a boss off, and it looks boss south. It looks really cool. I'm interested, but it still seems like a game that is too hard for me. So,
well, yeah, especially being next gen, or even late current gen. There's no way it's not going to be just ballistic.
Yeah. So, I mean, other than that, there were a few other games announced. I know they announced, I think it's actually a launch game, deluxe edition of Devil May Cry 5 with added content to it and stuff, and like obviously optimized for the new console and stuff, which looks cool.
Isn't there a new Lego Star Wars game that's coming out?
The Skywalker Saga.
Is it right? That's coming out, right?
I'm not sure if that's next gen though. Yeah, it might be current.
Okay.
But yeah, they announced a couple other things here and there, but that was the gist of the entire show.
Okay.
The highlights, I would say.
So, I mean, the biggest thing, obviously, we finally get the specs that we've been wanting, the price point, what we should actually spend our money on, because they've been playing it close to the vest, so close that Obesius was getting quite angry with Sony.
I was upset.
And so now we have all the information. We got a couple of games announced and all that jazz. So, I mean, overall, as an event, do you think pretty successful? Was there anything else that you wanted to know? Anything else that they could have done?
I mean, to me, it was a home run. I think it was a great event. Gave me all the main things I wanted from it. And, I mean, just kind of solidified that, yeah, I want a PlayStation moving forward.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was super successful in that aspect. I think they could have shown more technically, like the game's UI or the console's UI, and like showing how it actually looks when you boot it up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, beyond that, it was just, I think, everything I needed to solidify my purchase, which I'm sure is exactly what they were going for.
I think the fact that now that it's confirmed that the discless version of the PlayStation will be basically just the PlayStation 5 minus the disc drive.
That's all it is.
That's massive for me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that that's the case, because that solidifies my purchase of the console. I mean, all I needed to know was that the price was going to be reasonable, and I was going to buy a PlayStation anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that everything that I wanted is coming true.
Yeah.
And also, I agree with you. Ow, my ass. I would have liked to see, like, a little bit more of like what we're gonna see, like, the God of War trailer, for instance. It would have been nice to see just a nice little Did you ever see the stinger at the end of God of War? Did you ever look it up, or did you ever see it?
I think so. Okay, spoiler warning.
Spoiler. It got staticky as soon as I said spoiler. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
The Thor thing? Not Thor. Yeah, Thor. Yeah, Thor.
What happens?
So if you, instead of at the end of the game, if you go home immediately,
Uh-huh.
a cutscene happens where you go to bed and then some time passes.
Yeah.
You saw this?
I got that, yeah.
Yeah. And, so it would have been fun to see something.
Well, no, go ahead and explain so people know.
So, yeah, if you go to bed instead of, like, playing any end game stuff.
At the end of the game.
Yeah. So at the very end, credits are rolling. If you head home instead of going back out and cleaning up whatever you didn't finish, you'll trigger a cutscene where you go to bed, you think everything is all good, and then shit just hits the fan. Fucking lightning, storm, destroys your house. You go outside and you're like, what the fuck? I was going to say Thanos. Kratos is like, who are you? And the guy whips his robe out of the way and you see Mjolnir. And it's Thor waiting to fucking wreck your shit. And then it cuts away. And you're like,
Yep.
Ragnarok. So it's so dope. And I think that if you're somebody who played God of War, but you didn't ever trigger that scene and you just never knew about it, and now you're seeing Ragnarok as the pseudo sequel, you're like, oh, that's cool. They talked about it a lot in the game.
Yeah.
But like you have no context for the fact that like, dude, it was at your doorstep.
Yeah. Thor's coming.
Yeah. Ooh. It gave me chills when I saw that shit.
And it's like it's just a vision too, because you wake up after that and you're like, oh, what happened?
Can't wait. And you know what's really dope is that, like, you know, I'm kind of happy now that I took a while to play the game because everything is so fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's only a couple of months or a little while. They only said 2021. They didn't say when. I can only imagine
Probably less than a year.
Yeah.
Maybe a year.
Summer. You think?
Yeah.
Maybe less than that?
Maybe. Well, no. I'm thinking it probably will come out around fall.
Okay,
winter.
like just before a year.
Yeah, like maybe November.
Yeah.
I'll give them till November.
Okay.
If they don't reach that, I'm going to call them and tell them how disappointed I am.
I'm gonna have a long talk about this.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited. I mean, you saw me, like, if anybody saw me distracted in the early part of this call to our people, that's how we do it nowadays.
Yeah.
If anybody saw me distracted, it was only because I was trying to like refresh a page to buy the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't able to do. But
it's okay.
When we can, we will.
We will. Yeah, I'm definitely. Oh man, it's so exciting.
I know. It's not. It's a nice little bit of normalcy.
Yeah.
You know? Just to think about something that's completely inconsequential.
Yeah, just some consumer good. Okay,
Yeah.
Don't try to take this from us.
No.
Okay, just let's let us have this thing.
Let's enjoy it.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that we want to?
Not that I can think of.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
I mean, Mandalorian trailer, but
not trash.
Not trash. It's a dope trailer.
It looks really good.
I mean, you know, what would be really fun. Let's do a one reel in of the Mandalorian series.
Okay.
We'll just go back and do all 8 episodes before the
new
new one comes out.
I'm down.
Let's fucking do that.
Okay.
All right.
Deal.
But yeah, so the trailer's dope, not trash.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're good, right? Yeah. All right. Well, before we can get out of here, we got to review these beers. So, Obi, please. What the fuck were we drinking? Tell the people.
This was the Sideward Brewing Sound Investment Triple India Pale Ale.
What'd you think, sir?
I don't have much bad to say about this. It was really good.
Oh man, I know.
It was really, really good.
I don't want us to come across as like just straight up fanboys, but they don't miss. They don't miss.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a bit heftier than their traditional IPA, but that's what you expect from a triple IPA.
Triple IPA.
Yeah, it's just it's a meatier version of their IPA, which that's all I look for.
Yeah, meaty.
So meaty. Yeah, I mean, I'm at a loss. I think I'm gonna give this guy a 5. Yeah, it's just very tasty. If you're a fan of IPA, I think you owe it to yourself to give it a shot.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm giving it a 5 too. It's unanimous 5. I think it's for a triple IPA. You would think that would be a turnoff to somebody, like a casual drinker, or scary, or like, oh no, I don't know if I want to. It's not.
It doesn't hurt.
No, it's very drinkable. It's smooth, tasty. It's a well done triple IPA. I mean, we talk about whenever these companies try to go above and beyond, and they start doing these weird things where they get really high in the ABV.
Yeah, try too hard.
Yeah, basically. And you're like, look, you don't have to do too much. Just make it simple, make it tasty, and then you can still hit the notches that you're trying to go for. Sideward does that, man. They do things where it seems to be that they have a goal or an idea in mind, and they keep it as simple as possible to reach that goal. And they do it pretty much every time. Like this triple IPA, you're like, what? But it's not. I mean, usually, think about this. Usually on the show, we drink a triple IPA and we're just like, all right, it's time. We need to get the fuck out of here. But it's so well balanced that I didn't just down it. Like it was just a good tasting, you just coast through it kind of beer. Mm-hmm. So 5.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if that is it, then that is it. 5 out of 5, 5 out of 6, 5, unanimous 5. Maybe it's a little stronger than I thought it was.
That was you going.
Unanimous 5 for the sound investment from Sideward Brewing. This has been the One Beer In podcast for myself, Marco Dupa, for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, boy.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer. Like, share, and subscribe on the YouTubes. Listen everywhere that podcasts are sold and listen to. And have a beautiful evening.
We love you.
That we do. Bye.